If there is one practical thing that Democrats can do right now that would help them regain power, it's never speak to Trump in person. No, I'm kidding. That's stupid. No, it's this. Inspire your moderates to vote in the primaries. Get that base excited. You have the numbers. After Congressman Moulton made his comment about his daughter not getting run over, he added, "But as a Democrat, I'm supposed to be afraid to say that." Well, then change what you're supposed to be afraid of.
The Democratic National Committee is in turmoil, and Bill Maher isn't holding back. Rather than showing sympathy for a party struggling with a lack of leadership, vision, and a clear message, he's tearing into them with full force. On his show Real Time with Bill Maher, the outspoken host took direct aim at AOC and the Democrats, criticizing them for failing to learn from their last devastating loss. His remarks were sharp, unapologetic, and left no room for doubt. Maher is calling out his own side, and it was absolutely blistering.
People ask me all the time, why haven't you ever had Hillary or Bill Clinton on? Why didn't you have Kamala on during the last campaign? You think we don't ask? We ask these people every week. They say no. It took 8 years and a petition to get Obama on. And these are people, all people I voted for. Think about that. They're afraid to come on the show of a guy who voted for them.
Maher began by voicing his frustration with the very party he's supported for years, with his vote, his money, and his influence, only to be repeatedly sidelined. Despite being one of the Democrats' most visible cultural allies, Maher pointed out that they've consistently avoided his platform. He's invited them to appear on Real Time with Bill Maher countless times, yet they never accept. According to him, the reason is simple. They're afraid of tough questions and unable to defend their fragile positions when faced with real scrutiny. Instead of engaging in honest debate, they retreat into an echo chamber, proving Maher's point that the left has grown weak, insecure, and intellectually stagnant. But then comes the question, are Republicans really any braver?
The Republicans? They show up. And when they do, they take their beating like a man. You went down to Mar-a-Lago and kissed his after that.
Oh, bullshit.
When the Mueller report came out, I feel like you mischaracterized it, and I feel that was shady. But you campaigned for election deniers in 2022. This I do not forgive. The Republicans, including you, January 6th, etc., are the ones who are no longer willing to play by the rules of democracy. Amendment 22, no person shall be elected to the office of the president more than twice. And yet you keep talking about Trump's maybe you should have this.
Of course, Republicans have had their share of comebacks, some sharp, others awkward, that likely hit Maher personally. But that's not the main point. What really stands out is that, win or lose, Republicans actually show up. They face Maher head-on, take the criticism, and stay in the conversation, even when their arguments are shaky or underdeveloped. That willingness to step into the spotlight, knowing they might stumble, demonstrates a certain toughness and sense of accountability. Unlike the Democrats, they don't hide in their comfort zones. They confront the challenge. And that, in itself, says a lot.
I would love to have AOC on the show, and Mandami and Elizabeth Warren, but I can't subpoena the guests. And I can't fix that what the Democrats are scared of more than anything else, I mean, obviously besides gluten, is being primaried from the far left, even though most Democrats are not far left. They're mild-mannered and moderate, at least at my bathhouse.
It's no secret that the far left has taken the wheel when it comes to driving the woke agenda. What's more alarming, however, is how their voice has grown louder and more dominant than the Democratic Party itself. Instead of standing firm on principles, the party keeps bending to every demand, no matter how extreme. It feels as though the Democratic National Committee has surrendered its backbone, choosing appeasement over genuine leadership. The result is a hollow institution more concerned with pleasing the loudest activists than representing everyday Americans. What the party desperately needs now isn't another figurehead afraid to offend the fringe. It's a leader with real courage and conviction, someone willing to draw the line and reclaim control from the far-left grip.
Even though most Democrats are not far left, they're mild-mannered and moderate, at least at my bathhouse. If there is one practical thing that Democrats can do right now that would help them regain power, it's never speak to Trump in person. No, I'm kidding. That's stupid. After Congressman Moulton made his comment about his daughter not getting run over, he added, "But as a Democrat, I'm supposed to be afraid to say that." Well, then change what you're supposed to be afraid.
Bill Maher's point couldn't be more accurate. In recent years, many moderates within the Democratic Party have quietly drifted toward the political center, or even to the right. These are people who once proudly called themselves Democrats, but now feel alienated by a party increasingly dominated by far-left ideology. Many of them would happily return if the Democratic National Committee showed the courage to loosen its grip on the woke fringe. Instead of restoring balance, the party tiptoes around the far left, afraid of backlash and the online outrage that follows any hint of dissent. Until the DNC finds the strength to break free from this extremism, moderates will keep their distance, and the party will stay trapped in a cycle of appeasement and fear-driven politics.
Do you think that he would have the power and influence to be able to, usher in socialism?
He definitely has the power and influence to elect J.D. Vance or whoever is the Republican candidate next time. It is a walking commercial for the Republican Party
I think
nationally.
the Republicans are going to...
When you let the Democrats, socialists, and now they're actually calling themselves socialists, when you let them take over a major American city, this is what you get.
Bill Maher put it bluntly. If the Democrats make Zoran Mani their 2028 frontrunner, they'll be handing the win to J.D. Vance. Mani's woke, socialist platform might excite Gen Z voters, but Maher argues it won't land with millennials, Gen X, or baby boomers, the groups that still dominate the polls. Instead of expanding support, it would likely drive older voters away. In short, betting the party's future on a far-left candidate like Mani would be political self-destruction, practically guaranteeing a Republican victory.
If you're engaging with a psycho who all they care about is controlling you, they're very good at diagnosing problems. Yeah. They're very good at figuring out what your weak points are. And that's, I would argue, what a lot of these people are doing.
That's right.
They recognize that if you can focus on these problems, then you can, use that dissatisfaction to gain power for yourself.
To me, Mani isn't offering real leadership. He's exploiting frustration. He points out real flaws in the system, not to fix them, but to weaponize them, fueling anger and division. Instead of proposing practical solutions, his rhetoric only worsens the issues he claims to fight. It's the same old tactic: assign blame, stir emotions, deliver nothing. Socialism, no matter how attractively packaged, has never brought prosperity, yet many young voters, unaware of its failures, are drawn to his promises. They mistake idealism for progress, overlooking the consequences: economic stagnation, lost freedoms, and deeper divides. Mani isn't leading a movement towards solutions. He's selling a fantasy that history has already warned us about.
This must be horrible for a guy like you, who you spent your whole life talking about how government tries to do too much, which it does, and spends too much. And here you have Trump, who is the Republican, who is aggrandizing more power than anybody, as we just talked about. And on the other side, you have the guy running in New York, Mandami, right? Okay, who's like a straight-up communist. I mean, he is. He talks about, the things that communists say. I mean, he wants free grocery stores, free buses.
I want him to win.
You want him to win?
Yeah. I think every 20 years or so.
Wait.
We need every 20 years or so, we need a conspicuous, confined experiment with socialism so we can crack it up again.
Those of us who know history understand what socialism leaves behind, and we're not eager to repeat it. That's why we're not rooting for Mani's rise, but hoping Democrats recognize the danger before it's too late. His policies may sound inspiring, but in practice, they weaken the economy and threaten core freedoms. What's needed now is clarity, voters seeing beyond slogans to the long-term harm in his agenda. If Democrats want to save their party, they must stop Mamani before he leads it to collapse.
Socialist slogan used to be, workers of the world unite, you have nothing to lose but your chains. The new socialist slogan is, trust us, this time it won't be a mess. So, when the post-war Labour government in Britain was about to get started, one of their leading lights was a socialist named Nurian Bevan. He said, what could go wrong? He said, we have a nation bedded on coal, surrounded by fish. It would take an organizational genius to have a shortage of either. In 3 years, they had a shortage of both. That's socialism.
On paper, socialism sounds appealing. A utopian idea where everyone shares equally, and no one is left behind. But in practice, it has repeatedly proven worse than capitalism. For all its flaws, capitalism still rewards effort, creativity, and persistence, giving people the chance to build a better future. Socialism reverses that promise, creating an illusion of equality that often hides a concentration of power among the elite. They take the benefits, while ordinary people, no matter how hard they work, are left struggling. The result isn't fairness, it's stagnation, resentment, and poverty disguised as progress. Time and again, history has shown that socialism doesn't set people free, it traps them.
One must tell the usual suspects on the far left that the saying is, when you're in a hole, stop digging, not keep digging. Talk about doubling down on what got you in the first place. Even the one concession I've heard a few people on the losing side offer, that liberals should stop saying the Trump voters are stupid, comes with a kind of unspoken parentheses, we know they are stupid, just don't say it.
Too often, the left views the right as ignorant or backward, a stereotype that makes it easy to dismiss conservative voices without real debate. Anyone supporting MAGA or right-leaning ideas is labeled uneducated or morally flawed, while the left paints itself as wiser and more virtuous. But that arrogance is their weakness. When you look down on your opponents, you underestimate them, and when you underestimate them, you lose. This blind spot keeps the left from seeing the real frustrations driving millions of Americans, frustrations that no moral posturing can erase.
You can't define woman, I mean person who menstruates. You're the teachers' union education party, and you've turned schools and colleges into a joke. You just lost a crazy contest to an actual crazy person. You love to speak truth to power, and we always should, but you have completely lost the ability to speak truth to both.
In the end, the problem with the Democratic Party and the far left isn't just their policies. It's their arrogance, pandering, and refusal to learn from history. From Bill Maher's warnings about promoting woke socialists like Mamani to moderates feeling abandoned, the message is clear. Socialism may sound noble, but in reality, it empowers elites and hurts ordinary people. Blinded by self-righteousness, the left keeps dismissing conservatives as ignorant, and that arrogance may be its downfall. If Democrats keep appeasing the loudest activists instead of standing for balance and reason, they risk losing not just voters, but their future.